Summit having back-to-back really, really good games as he brings back the Aatrox. I know somewhere there's someone that's very, very happy about that. Do you dare give him player of the game?
No. I would want to, but there was one person that I think deserves it more.
Does it start with E?
It does.
And end with Fort?
It does. It does, yeah.
I hope so.
I think Summit will get it, actually, because I think that Gore Drinker play, it was too juicy. It's too juicy, but I think that effort, this is both for this game, but just also effort's performance recently in general, because it feels like we only get good effort now, and that has been a long time ago, and you pointed it out. I think our main issue with Liv Sandbox was that they were one-dimensional, and that was kind of what we saw in game number 1. They played their all-in comp and failed miserably.
And you know what happened? KT was like, wait, you're one-dimensional? Hold my beer. And showed us exactly what one-dimensional really looks like. And that is drafting a comp that was really, really smart into a comp that it doesn't really work into. It just wasn't so great. That being said, they can go back to the drawing board, and I think that KT, after their performance in game number 1, they're not a team that is on the ropes necessarily.
Agreed.
They can tidy up draft mistakes like that, but they can't make many more of those if they want to contend for some of our playoff spots.
Because what does shine here through here from KT is the individual performances, right?
Yeah.
I think as a team they looked a little bit lost. They had a comp that had already our time playing aggressively and making moves themselves, because it was a nunty dive comp that was relying on people to dive into them, and we saw how well it worked. And we were a bit loopy because it's so frustrating, because you literally go from the ideal position for this composition and seeing how well it looks to see it completely fall apart when your opponents are like, we've seen this before. Effort does not betray. That man hits every hook. Oh man. Yeah, for KT, individual performance still looking really, really good. It is, I think, about the draft and about making sure that if you fall behind, you still have a game plan. This is also something that Liv Sandbox need to look into. Yep. But this game actually didn't start out that well for them.
No, right? And this is Liv Sandbox ticking a whole lot of boxes, right? It's the bounce back, the mentality being all kept well and truly together, intelligent drafting, understanding how to pivot in certain situations to make sure everything's going to be okay. I only have good things to say about this team. And things do start to get a little bit more difficult as they go towards the end of the first round robin, and I'm looking forward to seeing how much they can augment their scoreline. I don't believe they get to 5th place just yet. I think they're 1 point behind both Fred Prion and T1. So that will put them in 6th or 7th, I guess, because 6th doesn't exist because we have 2 5th place teams. It's all a bit weird. We'll have a look at the standings a bit later on as we're going to check out some of these highlights. It was very back and forth in the beginning, but in the end, it was just back or forth, depending on which way Liv Sandbox would go.
Still see a little bit of the old Liv Sandbox here. Not in this play. I think this was beautifully executed, but the previous one, where they were a little bit trigger happy. Well, here you see why I voted.
Too good.
Yeah, why I voted for Effort.
Do you know why you wouldn't vote for Effort? Is because he's been so consistently doing this that maybe it gets boring, you know? Yes. And he missed that hook.
I did it the play. Now you're right. That was my bad. Yeah. And what I am really happy about, and we had a really spirited discussion about this on the POC side as well. That I think we did great in, and our opponents not so much. Not really relevant to who those people were.
All right, yes, we had a little bit of a debate in the POC state, and I don't know whether we necessarily won.
I'm not. I don't think we need to get into that. But more importantly, I think that what I'm happy to see, and it's something that I'm always going to talk about with both of these two teams. In this case, it's Liv Sandbox winning. But even if Liv Sandbox would have lost this game, I'm just happy to see our mid-tier teams. Yes, they have problems, but they're doing things. They're making plays, right? And some of them might admittedly be high risk. Some of the drafts might not be quite what you're looking for. But KT still gives me the feeling that there is more to this team that we haven't seen yet. That is going to come out if they're able to solve some of the issues that they have right now, because performances from players like Dove and Dora have been exceptional.
We're going to have a look at this last fight. Summit just doing exactly what he wants. 2 fights in a row.
아래 이겼어 아래 이겼어.
위에 이겼어 위에 이겼어.
진짜.
보여줘 얘들아.
야 밑으로 가자 밑으로 가자 얘들아 자꾸 밑으로 가자.
다음 턴에 마무리할게. 너무 좋아 얘들아.
나이스.
잘했다,
아이고
나이스.
좋다. 좋았다. 납셨다.
밑으로 다 같이.
아 나이스 나이스. 랜턴 내놔.
뛰어하자 납셨다.
잘 끝내보자 얘들아.
야 이거 다행이다. 그래.
아우 좋아.
파워 열심히 쳐야 끝날 듯.
야 컨셉질 좀 안 하면 안 되냐 너네?
아 근데 야 동구야 이거 3대3 뭐냐? 어? 3대3 뭐냐고.
야
야 일단 끝내봐 일단 끝내봐.
형 그래도 뭐 이겼으니까 됐잖아.
15초.
These guys are just having a really good
얘들아
time.
마스크 동선 짜라 마스크 동선.
We get a mini reverse sweep, right?
동선 짜라.
Yeah.
Always gonna feel good.
한번 써볼까?
아 구도 잘 잡네.
나이스.
야 잘했다 얘들아.
아
네.
땡큐. 야 르블랑 나이스.
이제
Yep, you can see there's a bit of relief there, but after pretty dominant performances like this, you're going to feel really good about it. Prince dominates with the damage because he's a Jinx that's completely untouchable by the opposition. And look, that's just how it was. Our first Udyr for 11.12 was a success, which I hate, but that's okay.
In the context of this specific game, we can excuse it because there is the Thresh to like help solidify it. You do need the tank, you know.
Yep.
You have a LeBlanc and an Aatrox, both of which utilize setup incredibly well. Because if you hit a stun, it's a free chain. If you hit a stun, right, we saw what Summit could do with a knockup. So as long as it doesn't become like blind picked again in situations where it's just objectively not good, I'm okay with this one Udyr pick.
Yeah,
we can
and I mean,
forgive
I
it.
guess the Udyr's job this game was to be able to stun stuff, make the early game feel a little bit better, and clear out all of the jungle camps so Blank couldn't have any of his. So that's absolutely fine. Let's have a look at who managed to win the POG. It's obviously going to be Effort. Those incredible hooks were absolutely fantastic. Close to 90% kill participation as well, and his Thresh is just super good. 400 points now for the support of Liv Sandbox.
Yeah, these moments. This was basically him orchestrating a 1v2, right?
Yeah.
Recognizing that the roam is coming in, walking away, getting Prince to safety, and turning at the exact right moment, baiting everyone in, hitting the flay on Dove,
and then
then
flashing out
leisurely walking
perfectly.
out. It's like, oh, I'm good. Doesn't hit this
man.
hook, but does it the two-man flay?
That was a... yes, it was a two.
Yeah.
Sorry. For some reason I decided that there was an extra person there that didn't actually exist.
Well, you know, Tom cancels a lot of maths, so I can understand that. That's hook number one. This is not a mistake from our observers. There will be more in the exact spot.
Oh my goodness. Doran didn't have a lot of options, and Harp as well had to just give up his top laner for the Ghost. So really, really nicely played.
Oh, I love this.
6 out of 12, Summit and Effort. Of course, they will be our two POGs that are going to be in the interview as well. So it was very close to just being Summit, but I'm kind of glad that we managed to get a word in with Effort as well, as our deciding votes were even pretty close at the same time. Pretty cool stuff.
Justifiably so. And I think a big sign of how well Liv Sandbox played the final game is I think you vote for everyone but Croco. I don't even think Croco had a bad game.
No.
It's just because he was like
a
a low-impact champion.
Yeah.
But Fate as well, and that LeBlanc. Everyone was gorgeous.
They were just really good. It was a great game from Liv Sandbox. So let's hear from them. And here is G-Sun for some translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Season with the Universe Translation, and Liv Sandbox close out the week with a victory over KT roster. Congratulations. Thank you. It was a huge comeback victory from Liv Sandbox. How are you feeling, guys? It was a hard one. Very difficult, but I think we all concentrated till the very end, so we were able to get this win. I'm glad that we were able to play in front of a bigger audience. Summit. There was actually an analysis on the audience. She was holding a sign saying, "Why didn't you play Ezreal Gnar in game 1?" Time to answer a question. I think we had some bad draft in the game 1, and I think opponent outdrafted as well. So yeah, it didn't really go as we planned. Then Summit. You had some awesome game on NAR in game 2, and you even said, I guess I'm an art one trick. I think NAR has been a pretty solid pick on the side of Leap Sandbox, right? Effort. What do you think about Summit's NAR? That was one of the most reliable picks, starting from the spring split. Whenever he gets to play NAR, we just trust that our laner will win lane. Game 2, we had NAR versus Canada matchup. Tell us about it. I think it's a 50-50 matchup, but I was able to win the trade in the very early games. So I was able to have a fair bit of an easy laning phase. And the top lane was about win lane, win game in both game 1 and 2. I think winning lane priority looked vital to the victory, and you just decided to play Aatrox into Rumble. We were thinking about either Nar or Jace, but those all got removed from the ban. So we wanted to play a pick that can exert a huge pressure and dominance in team fight, and Aatrox was the one. I'm also curious about the Udyr pick. Kroko, he's a Udyr master in our team, so he's always ready to pull it off. And I think in the game 3 it was a very nice situation to give it a go. We had so many actions in game number 3. I think that got to activate the big ol' alpha top laner soul in yourself, right? Yeah, in this kind of a back and forth team fight, every skill matters. I think we were able to execute it really well. And because we had too many actions and fights, it took both teams so long to pick up the first Drake. And I think the current meta of the LCK is about fighting around Drakes and objectives, right? I mean, if you don't have any action in the laning phase, yeah, that's the case. But if you actually look for fights during the laning phase, I don't think you really have to play around Drakes. You just have to focus where you can win the trade. Sometimes you can play on the top. It doesn't really necessarily have to be the Drake. I think a lot of people are now seeing Leap Sandbox as the strongest teams, and I think you are the centerpiece. What do you think about it? Well, I think I am making less mistakes compared to before, but still I did make some mistakes today as well, so I think I have to keep working hard. You'll be facing off Africa Freaks in the next match. How are we going to prepare for that? Africa is another very tough opponent, but we will stick to our screams and practices just as usual and do our best. As far as I know, Africa is like 4-2. They are on a good momentum, so I hope we can take their momentum away and start our winning streak. And SNL is waiting for you guys. Looking forward to your chemistry with some caster. I'm a little bit under pressure, but I will try to enjoy the show. I will enjoy the show watching it. And this will be the end of the interview from Summit Effort from Leap Sandbox, and I'm going to pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ji-sun. As per usual, for the interview translation, of course, Sunday Night League will now involve Live Sandbox, which is kind of interesting. Looking forward to seeing what they're going to be saying there. Of course, sort of difficult for us to enjoy it yet. However, one day we'll even be able to translate it for you guys because we'll be so damn good at Korean, right?
I hope so.
Yeah. Speaking of which, let's have a look at the play of the day. Speaking of which doesn't really segue, but
it works.
It's fine. Let's have a look at the play of the day. See what we're going to pick. It is going to be, the ridiculousness that was this team fight.
Oh, Harm. Oh, you're going to feel so bad about this, but it doesn't really matter. Like, this is happening one way or another.
That core drinker was just repugnant.
Have we missed core drinker Aatrox? I mean, Summit definitely has. I don't think the rest of us have.
Yeah, no.
God. Because he gets exhausted here, right? And this is actually looking kind of dire, but it's Summit that also calls. The moment he gets eaten, like, go, 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 go.
And also Hub, like, spits him out into the middle of the team.
It's like, 5 people. It's the knock-up, the immediate LeBlanc Prince flashing forward. And this is Liv Sandbox at its best, right? When the team actually comes together, when they're all aligned.
Yeah. And Liv Sandbox will, in fact, move up to equal 5th alongside T1 and ㅅKT, just demonstrating just how close the LCK is at the moment. That's 3-3. Our 4-2 players, we've got 3 of those as well. Everything very, very close. And then it's 2-4, 1-5, and then 0-6 towards the end. And Genji and T1ㅅKT sitting at the top. T1ㅅKT with a couple more 2-0s than some of their opposition. So
and
they
Genji
will have a clear second place, and then Genji, 6-0, having a really good time.
Genji.
Do
One
we get
day.
it? Do we get excited or expectant of Genji yet?
Never.
I'm not entirely sure.
They're going up against the Kingslayer's numero uno. Fred@Brion is looking for that snipe.
Yeah.
Back to Blue Shell.
Well, we'll see how that one's going to go. Liv Sandbox versus a Freak of Freaks. Also a highlighted matchup. Harmolife Esports versus DRX is important, if not a little bit sad.
Yeah.
On Thursday. And we've got a Telecom War to debut out
So
next
many.
week in week 4. It's going to be really, really fun. Wolf and Valdez will bring that one to you as we'll have some mixed up schedules for another week. And that will be a fun one. Genji versus Fred@Brion. Are Reddit really the greatest team that we have here in the LCK? Well, that is going to be the biggest test for them. Taking down the undefeated Genji would 100% be a really, really exciting one. I believe we also have a challenger schedule for you that hopefully our friend Chronicler is going to be co-streaming for you if you'd like to check it out.
I will. I most certainly will. In particular, I'm going to be looking at the form of T1 because they have been looking pretty abysmal and they were by far the best team in the last split. And some individual players from teams like T1ㅅKT and Fred@Brion have really caught my eye, so going to be looking out for those as well.
I'm going to be looking at Harmolife Esports and DRX to see who we might see moving on up towards... No, I don't know whether that is what's going to happen. Looking forward to seeing whether or not those two teams can get things together, though, because we are only a week and a half away from round 2 kicking off, and that is where things really start to get real and playoffs begin to be a conversation worth having. But, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for this week of LCK. We'll see you next week for even more when we debut week 4. See you then.
Set me free. You break down the wall.